One of the biggest advances in the regulated cannabis industry is that people can now handle their earnings through legal banking channels. Thanks to St. Lucia's new framework, licensed cultivators and processors are finally able to declare their income, complete source of funds forms, and have their money officially recognized by financial institutions. President of ICAR, Aaron Alexander, said that gaining legitimacy brings real safety and access to genuine opportunity. For years, people involved with cannabis were forced to operate underground as their work was considered part of the black market.
And it's very good that now we are moving within that direction. And we're hoping that, once the regime is made legal, that all sorts of business transactions can be done legally, especially when it comes to the banking of funds derived from the cannabis industry. Persons can be legitimate businessmen and women with operating within the cannabis space, and that they are no longer frowned upon, and they actually will be doing legal business, and the banking system would have to receive those funds as legitimate business venture and endeavors.
This change represents a major step towards transitioning into a fully legal system. Under the new regulations, individuals are allowed to possess up to 30 grams of cannabis or cultivate 4 plants for personal use. However, personal use cannot be converted into business activity. Anyone wishing to operate commercially must apply for the proper license. Alexander added that there are specific licenses for different parts of the industry and that penalties still exist for those who break the law.
So there is still law governing the whole industry, because remember, it will be a regulated industry. In much the same way as you have a license to sell alcohol, you will have a license to cultivate, transport, or export cannabis. So you must ensure that you have the proper license for the activity that you're going to engage in terms of your entry into the cannabis industry. But when it comes to personal use is personal use. It cannot be done on a commercial level where you could actually sell personal use cannabis into the market. No, these things will not be allowed. It'll be done only depending on your license that you have acquired as to what part of the industry you are entering into, and you get the appropriate license as to how much cannabis, if it's an acre, if it's 2 acres, if it's 3 acres, if it's more than 3 acres. So there are different tiers of licenses that you have to ensure.
For decades, the cannabis trade carried a heavy social stigma and was treated as dealing in illegal money. Alexander pointed out that many people were unfairly labeled as drug dealers simply for being involved with cannabis. He said he's pleased to see that both regional and international governments are beginning to recognize the positive role that Rastafari people have played in this field.
Where our entire community was criminalized due to the fact that we were using cannabis and our relationship with cannabis. Our whole community was criminalized, and we were brutalized and murdered and hunted down. All these kind of atrocities we suffered at the hands of the state and the state agents, especially the police, due to the fact that we were our association with cannabis. So, right now, regional governments, international governments are realizing, hey, the Rastafari community was onto something very good. We were onto something very good, and now that they're looking to cash in on it.
Looking ahead, Alexander believes that the formalization of the cannabis industry can open doors for entrepreneurship, investment, and broader economic growth. By operating within the legal system, cultivators and business owners can plan for the future and expand their operations without fear of legal repercussions. Chloe Dantes, Embassy Prime.